If you're over 30 but your bank account looks like a teenager's, it's not because you don't work hard enough. It's not lack of knowledge. It's not because you're not putting in the effort. It's because your money frequency is frozen. Frozen at the exact age when you had no choice about what you absorbed. 7 years old. And as long as it stays frozen there, you could be 40, 50, 60 years old. But financially, you're broadcasting the reality of a scared 7-year-old child. That's why affirmations don't work. That's why visualizations don't change your bank balance. That's why you do all the manifestation work, and the money stays the same, or worse, comes in and evaporates within days. Because adult you is trying to manifest abundance, but the child inside you is screaming scarcity into the quantum field 24 hours a day. And the field always responds to the dominant frequency. Not to conscious intention, to subconscious transmission. And yours has been frozen for decades. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how this happened, why it happened at that specific age, what was the exact moment that froze your financial frequency, even if you don't consciously remember it, and most importantly, how to unfreeze it. Because this isn't permanent, it's not irreversible. You can change the frequency you're transmitting. But first you need to understand why it froze. And it all starts with a very specific window of time in your childhood. A window where your brain absorbed everything about money with no filter, no defense, no ability to question. There's a window of time in your childhood where everything you absorbed about money was recorded without filter, without questioning, without choice. It was between 0 and 7 years of age. During this phase, your brain operated in theta waves. Maybe you've never heard of this, so let me explain it simply. Theta waves are the same brain state as deep hypnosis. It's that state where you accept suggestions without resistance, without doubt, without analyzing whether they make sense or not. Adults need a hypnotist to enter this state. Children live in it 24 hours a day during the first 7 years. That means you spent the first 7 years of your life in a permanent trance. Everything your parents said about money went straight into your subconscious. Everything you saw about money became absolute truth. Everything you felt about money was coded as unchangeable reality. There was no critical filter. There was no part of you questioning, is this really true? There was no defense. It was total absorption. If your parents fought over money, you didn't think they're stressed right now, but this will pass. You recorded, money causes conflict. Money destroys peace. Money is dangerous. If your mother said, we don't have money for that, you didn't understand it as a temporary budget statement. You recorded, there's never enough. There's always lack. We're poor. If your father lost his job and you saw his fear, it didn't matter if he found new work later. The frequency that got recorded was, money can disappear at any moment. Security doesn't exist. And here's the crucial point nobody explained to you. This programming didn't get stored in your conscious memory where you can access it, review it, question it. It went straight to the subconscious. And the subconscious doesn't reason, doesn't analyze, doesn't update information. It simply runs the program that was installed. So today you're 30, 40, 50 years old. You read books about manifestation. You do affirmations. You visualize abundance. But there's a 7-year-old child in command of your financial frequency. And that child is transmitting to the quantum field the only thing she knows, the programming that was recorded in that theta window. The difference between child you and adult you is brutal. Adults have a developed prefrontal cortex, can analyze information, can question beliefs, can choose what to accept or reject. Children don't have that. A child is like a sponge thrown in the ocean, absorbs everything around them without distinction. And that sponge absorbed your entire financial programming before you had the capacity to choose what you wanted to absorb. That's why reasoning about money doesn't change your financial reality. Because the frequency you're transmitting doesn't come from adult reasoning. It comes from childhood recording. You're trying to drive the car with an adult instruction manual, but the one behind the wheel is a 7-year-old following the only rules she knows. The rules that were recorded when she had no choice. Now comes the part that's going to make everything click. Your financial frequency isn't the average of all the experiences you had with money between 0 and 7 years. It's not the sum of all the messages you heard. It's the last emotionally intense experience you had before theta waves started to diminish. Let me explain the mechanism. The stronger the emotion, the deeper the recording. This is basic neuroplasticity. Experiences charged with emotion create neural connections that are stronger, faster, more permanent. So if you had 50 neutral experiences with money and one experience of intense fear, fear wins. If you saw your parents happy with money 10 times and saw them fighting violently over money once, the fight wins. Because emotional intensity records deeper than neutral repetition. And when that intense recording happens in the last months of theta waves, it freezes right there. It's like taking a photo with a very bright flash. The light burns the retina. You blink, but the image stays there, imprinted, won't go away. Your money frequency was burned that way. One moment, one event, one sensation so strong that it was imprinted as your default reality. Maybe it was your dad coming home without a job. You were 6 years old. You saw his face, felt his fear, heard your mother crying in the bedroom. In that moment, your small body absorbed the frequency. Money can disappear without warning. Security is an illusion. Fear is the normal state, and it froze right there. Or maybe it was your mother looking at bills on the kitchen table, hands on her head, whispering, "It won't be enough, it won't be enough, it won't be enough." You were 5 years old, didn't understand what those papers were, but you felt her despair in your body, and recorded, "It's never enough. There's always lack. No matter how much there is, it'll run out." Frequency frozen, or it was more subtle. Your parents never fought loudly. There was never a dramatic crisis. But every time you asked for something, the answer was, "We don't have money for that." Every time, toy, ice cream, new clothes. "We don't have money." And at 7 years old, after hearing this hundreds of times in theta state, the last time you heard it was what sealed the programming. Because it was the last before the brain started exiting theta waves and developing critical thinking. So it was recorded as final truth. There's always lack. Wanting is pointless. Asking is guaranteed disappointment. What makes this devastating is you don't even remember the exact moment. Your conscious memory didn't keep it. Because the recording happened in the subconscious, during theta waves, where there's no clear episodic memory. You only have the frequency. Adult you looks at your financial life and doesn't understand why there's always lack at the end of the month. Doesn't understand why every time you receive money it evaporates within days. Doesn't understand why you're afraid to look at your bank account. Doesn't understand why you feel guilty when you spend. But the 7-year-old child inside you understands perfectly. She's transmitting the only frequency she knows, the frequency that was burned in that strong emotional moment. And as long as that frequency stays frozen, it doesn't matter how old you are now. Doesn't matter how many books you read. Doesn't matter how many affirmations you do. You're transmitting from the past, not from the present. Here's the brutal truth nobody tells you. Every time you do an abundance affirmation, every time you visualize money flowing, every time you declare, "I am prosperous," you're using 5% of your power. The other 95% is busy transmitting the frozen frequency of the 7-year-old child. And in the quantum field, it's not the loudest voice that wins, it's the strongest frequency. Your conscious mind is the loud voice. It speaks, declares, affirms, visualizes. But your subconscious mind is the strong frequency. It transmits 24 hours a day, without stopping, without you noticing. And the quantum field responds to the dominant transmission, always. So you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, "I am abundant. Money flows easily to me." You feel good saying it. Feel empowered. Feel like you're doing the work. But while you're speaking, the 7-year-old child is transmitting underneath. Money runs out. It's never enough, I'm afraid. And she doesn't need to speak loudly, because she's the default frequency. It's like trying to drive a car with the parking brake pulled. You accelerate, floor the gas pedal, the engine roars. You're making real effort, but the car barely moves because there's a brake holding it back, and the worst part, you don't even feel the brake because it's been pulled since forever. It's the normal position for you. You think you're accelerating full throttle, but the brake is neutralizing all the power. Affirmations are the accelerator. Frozen frequency is the brake. And you can't feel the brake because it's invisible to your consciousness. You only see the result. The car doesn't move. And then you think, maybe I don't have enough faith. Maybe I need to affirm more times. Maybe I'm not visualizing correctly. But it's none of that. The problem isn't the intensity of what you're declaring. It's the frequency underneath them. Let me give you a concrete example. You do your manifestation practice in the morning. Sit down, breathe, visualize abundance, feel gratitude for money flowing. Repeat, I deserve wealth 50 times. And it works. For 20 minutes, you're in that frequency. Then you go to work. Look at the price of something and feel that contraction in your chest, that tightness, that I can't spend this. You didn't even think consciously. It was automatic. And in that second, the 7-year-old child returned to control. Her frequency is stronger than your morning affirmations because she's been running for decades. She's the operating system. She's the root program. Your affirmations are apps you're trying to run on top of the system, but the system always wins. Or you're in a meeting. Someone mentions a financial opportunity, and you feel that instant fear. What if it doesn't work out? What if I lose money? What if it's too risky? You didn't even reason. It was a body reaction. Frozen frequency activating. The 7-year-old child screaming, danger, danger, money is unsafe. An adult you trying to convince her with logic. But she doesn't hear logic. She only knows the emotion that got recorded. What happens in the quantum field is destructive interference. 2 waves meet. 1 wave of abundance, your conscious affirmations, and 1 wave of scarcity, your frozen subconscious frequency. And when opposite waves collide, they cancel each other out. Result, nothing manifests. Or it manifests a little and disappears quickly, because the scarcity wave is constant and the abundance wave is sporadic. You do the practice in the morning, but live in fear all day long, so the dominant frequency will always be fear, and the field will always respond to the dominant one. That's why you can do everything technically right, all the practices, all the meditations, all the visualizations, and still have a child's bank account. Because the child is the one transmitting, and she hasn't changed frequency. She's still frozen in the moment of that emotional flash at 7 years old. Your current bank balance is the most honest mirror you'll ever find. It doesn't lie, doesn't disguise, doesn't spare you from anything. It reflects exactly the frequency you're transmitting right now, and that frequency isn't adult, it's child. So here's the question that will reveal everything. Look at your bank balance, without judgment. Just observe the number. And ask, what 7-year-old child's experience does this number reflect? The answer that comes immediately is your frozen frequency, not the answer you rationalize later. The first one, the one that comes from the body, not from the head. Maybe what you see at the end of the month is always 0. No matter how much comes in, there's never anything left over. And when you ask this question, the answer comes quickly. This is the child who saw parents living on the edge, always counting coins. Always tight, never any left over. Now as an adult, you replicate exactly that, because it's the only way to deal with money that got recorded. Or maybe the pattern is different. You earn well, but can't get past a certain point. Like there's an invisible ceiling. You get there and freeze. Opportunities appear, but something inside blocks them, and the 7-year-old child whispers the answer. This is what we earn. Our family was never rich. We're not at that level. An identity limit was recorded, and now the frozen frequency hits that ceiling every time you try to pass it, because it says, not for you, not your identity. Go back to your place. Some have yet another pattern. Money comes in fast, but goes out even faster, like their hands are leaking. Receive, and it evaporates. And the frozen frequency reveals, this is the child who never saw money sitting still, always moving, always flowing out. Or the one who heard money is for spending, not for saving. Or the one who felt that accumulating is selfish, is wrong. You have to share everything. Now the frequency doesn't allow accumulation, because accumulating isn't emotionally safe. And there are those who have money saved but can't spend it, even on necessary things. Guilt every time they spend. Anxiety watching the balance decrease. And the 7-year-old child shows the origin. She saw crisis, job loss, total insecurity. Recorded, holding on is survival. Spending is danger. Never let go because you might need it later. Now the frozen frequency prevents you from using your own money that you have. Look at the precision of this. It's not coincidence your balance has the pattern it has. It's an exact reflection of frozen programming. The quantum field is responding perfectly to the frequency you're transmitting. The problem was never the field. It was the frequency. And here's what liberates you. Your current balance isn't failure. It's diagnosis. It's feedback. It's the quantum field showing you exactly which frequency is active. You always have exactly enough, but never any left over. Frozen frequency. Enough and nothing more. Extreme highs and lows. Abundance and crisis alternating. Frozen frequency. Insecurity. Unpredictability. The financial roller coaster the child lived through. Self-sabotage every time you're close to a big gain. Frozen frequency. I don't deserve it. I'm not good enough. This isn't for me. And the most important part, you're not doing this consciously. It's not deliberate self-sabotage. It's automatic frequency, running on autopilot since you were 7 years old. Your job now isn't to judge yourself. It's to recognize. See the frequency operating. See the child in command. And understand that as long as she's frozen in that 7-year-old emotion, your adult bank balance will continue to reflect her reality, not yours. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to what you consciously want. It responds to what you subconsciously transmit, and you're transmitting frozen frequency. But that's about to change, because now you see, and seeing is the first step to unfreezing. Unfreezing isn't what you think. It's not inner child therapy where you visualize hugging the wounded child. It's not writing a letter to your 7-year-old self. It's not processing trauma in long emotional healing sessions. You can do that if you want, but it's not what unfreezes the frequency. Because frequency isn't memory, it's transmission, it's signal, and you don't change signal with conversation. You change signal with experience. New experience, real, somatic. Let me explain the concept. Your frequency froze because the body of the 7-year-old child had an emotionally intense experience and recorded, money is danger, money is scarcity, money is unsafe. This recording is in the body, not in the mind. That's why talking to the mind doesn't solve it. Affirmations are mental, visualizations are mental, but the recording is bodily. So to unfreeze, you need to give the body the opposite experience. Experience that money is safe. And this doesn't happen by imagining. It happens by feeling. Here are the principles of unfreezing. First principle, recognize the frozen frequency. You already did this in the previous topic. You identified the pattern, saw the child operating. This recognition has already started the process, because awareness is always the first step. Second principle, create bodily experience of safety with money. Not mental, bodily. Your body needs to learn that money isn't a threat, that seeing money doesn't need to generate contraction, that thinking about money doesn't need to activate fear, that having money doesn't need to trigger guilt. How do you do this? Gentle and repeated exposure. Imagine you're afraid of dogs because you were bitten at 7 years old. Your body recorded, dog is danger. You don't cure this by imagining friendly dogs in your mind. You cure it by exposing your body to real dogs, in safe situations, repeatedly, until the body relearns. Dogs can be safe. Same thing with money. If your body contracts when it sees a low balance, you need to teach the body not to contract. How? By looking at the balance without running away, breathing through the contraction. Staying there until the body understands, seeing a number isn't real danger. If your body feels guilt when you spend, you need to teach the body that spending can be neutral. How? By spending a small amount consciously. Feeling the guilt, breathing through it, repeating until the body learns. Spending doesn't destroy you. If your body has fear of not having enough, you need to show it evidence of sufficiency. How? By listing everything you have right now. Food, clothes, roof. Breathing this reality, anchoring in the body. In this moment, there is enough. None of this is visualization. It's real somatic experience. Third principle, repetition until reprogramming. Unfreezing isn't a one-time event. It's a process. You spent 7 years recording the frozen frequency. You're not going to unfreeze it in a 5-minute session. But you also don't need another 7 years. We need to talk real time here. Neurological reprogramming takes 21 to 90 days of consistent experience. 21 days to start forming new circuits. 90 days to consolidate as a new pattern. Joe Dispenza, neuroscientist who's spent decades studying brain reprogramming, repeats this in all his research. You don't change a neural pattern in a single session. You need consistent repetition until the brain accepts the new circuit as default reality. This means you need to give your body new experience of safety with money repeatedly for at least 3 weeks. Every day, small doses, real experience. And here's the secret nobody tells you. Unfreezing isn't about having more money first. It's about changing your body's relationship with the money you already have right now. Because as long as your body is in a state of contraction, fear, guilt in relation to current money, that's the frequency you're transmitting. And the field responds by bringing more situations that generate contraction, fear, guilt. But when your body learns to stay relaxed, neutral, safe with money, even if it's little money right now, that frequency of safety is what you're transmitting. And the field responds by bringing situations that confirm safety. It's like defrosting food. You can't force it in the microwave, can't blast it on high heat. It'll burn on the outside and stay frozen inside. You leave it at room temperature. Gentle, consistent, and it defrosts naturally. Your financial frequency is the same. No use forcing intense affirmations on top of frozen frequency. It'll create conflict, resistance, more freezing. You expose the frequency to gentle experiences of safety repeatedly, and it defrosts naturally. The body relearns that money isn't the boogeyman the 7-year-old child thought it was. Fourth principle, act from the unfrozen place, not the frozen one. As long as you act financially from fear, from contraction, from insecurity, you're reinforcing the frozen frequency. But when you start making financial decisions from calm, from breath, from I can handle this, even if the money is the same, you're installing a new frequency. And that new frequency is what the field will read. It's not about having money to feel safe. It's about feeling safe to have money. The order is inverted for most people. They think when I have money, I'll feel safe. But the quantum field works in reverse. When you feel safe, money comes. Because safety is the frequency, and frequency attracts corresponding experience. So unfreezing is teaching your body that it can feel safe now, with what it has now in the current situation. And when the body learns this, the frequency changes. And when the frequency changes, external reality reorganizes to reflect the new frequency. Now that you understand the unfreezing mechanism, the hardest part isn't knowing what to do, it's maintaining consistency. Because unfreezing frequency requires repeated, daily exposure for weeks. And most people start well but lose the thread within a few days. Because they don't have structure, don't have a system. If you feel like you need that structure, the manifestation toolkit might be exactly what's missing. It provides daily checklists, frequency protocols, guided meditations, and tracking templates. Exactly the kind of support that helps you navigate those 21 to 90 days without losing momentum. It's affordable, complete, and works with everything I teach here. No fluff, just practical tools. The link is in the first pinned comment. But if you prefer to create your own system, you can do that too. The important thing is to have something that keeps you consistent. Because it's in the repetition that unfreezing happens. Your money frequency was frozen at 7 years old. That's why adult techniques don't work. But you can unfreeze it. And when you unfreeze, everything changes. Because the quantum field finally receives clean frequency, without interference from the scared child, without internal conflict, without the parking brake pulled. Just adult you transmitting the reality you choose to create. Now, before you leave here thinking you've solved everything, there's a second problem. You can unfreeze your frequency today, can do the work, can feel the change happening, and tomorrow it freezes again. Why? Because you're not alone in this quantum field. You're entangled with other people. People who carry frequency of scarcity, frequency of fear, frequency of, it'll never work out. And these invisible cords pull you back every time you try to leave. It's like trying to swim forward with someone holding your leg underwater. You don't even see who's holding you. But you feel the resistance. And as long as these cords are active, you'll unfreeze and refreeze, unfreeze and refreeze in an endless cycle. In the next video, I reveal how to identify who you're quantumly entangled with, and how to cut those cords once and for all, because you deserve to manifest without extra weight, without invisible pulls, without sabotaging your own progress by being connected to the wrong frequencies. If this video gave you clarity about why your financial reality is the way it is, leave your like. This helps more people find this information. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one, because this series is just getting started. I'll see you there.